Now that we pretty much have everything cut out, the bottoms of our legs have been sanded, we've drilled our holes, they're all in the right spot there. You're then going to just see if all of your parts fit. Now, do this one frame at a time. Okay, so ideally, if we just put our mortise and tenon together, and how it should look, it should fit nice and snug. Okay, so that's how you want a nice tight fit around the tenon where your mortise is. Okay, and also if you push that all the way, you want to see at the top that the tenon actually sticks out or sits proud of that face by the width of your steel rule. And we did that in our marking out, and we did that for a reason. The reason being we would prefer this to stick out, and we can plane that surface down very easily, rather than if your tenon sits below the face, that becomes a problem. Okay, so when you're cutting out, just make sure that the tenon is long enough so that it just sits over the top there. If you try to fit a joint here and it doesn't fit, so for example, a tenon into a mortise, it's more than likely that the tenon is too wide. Now, given the fact that when you cut the mortise out, you would have used the 6mm. Okay, so it can't be any smaller than 6mm, so don't take too much off this yet. Let's pare down, so we'll just take a fine layer off and then we'll just test to see if it fits in, because we don't want to have a big gap there. All right, so just place this in the vise carefully with your chisel, 2 hands on the chisel, always chiseling away from yourself. Let's just clean that bit up first. It's important to have a nice sharp chisel as well. Don't try and do this with something that's blunt. Okay, what I'll do now is I've just taken a real fine layer off. I'll try and get that to fit. I can still see it's a little bit too big. I'll flip it over, look at my lines, see where it is that I need to take more material off. Again, try that. It's starting to get a little bit closer. Okay, so I'll try that again. See, it's a bit higher up on this side. Let's try this again. Okay, it is starting to go in, not completely, it is a bit tight. This is where it's really important. Don't get a hammer and try to hit this in to force it in. That's where you split the grain, okay? The timber is weak along the grain. If I try to hit that in or force it in, I run the risk of breaking my leg. Let's just do this the right way. So pare off a fraction more. Going a little bit deeper, but still I need to do some more paring. So I can see it is getting jammed up more so on this side, so I'll focus my pairing. That's where I'll focus my pairing here. Maybe there's a little bit of extrusion there. Let's just pop that out. Okay, that fits nicely now. So that took a few minutes. And what this is really about is take your time, be patient. You can see that with a bit of patience, you can get a nice fit where it's snug, you don't have gaps there, and all the way around we have a nice mortise and tenon joint there. Do that for frame A and frame B. The next thing you want to look at is the bridle joints. So see if they fit. You should have a nice tight bridle joint up the top. What you're looking for is just a slight extrusion, so the leg sitting slightly proud of that face on the top, and then we can plane that down later on. If it doesn't fit, just repeat the same pairing process that we did for our bridle joint. Okay, when you're happy with how your frame goes together, just put a number. So if this fits in here, and that one fits together nicely. Okay, so get your pencil. This here is number 1, 2, 3, and 4. That way you don't go and mix things up later on down the track. The frame fits together nicely. We will check it for square. That's the next thing we'll do. So to do that, grab a square and just check that each of these corners are square. Okay, you can also do the old measure from corner to corner. Get your tape measure and measure to check that that's all nice and square. From here, we will pull everything apart. And we need to sand, firstly, an arris on our sharp edges. So that timber there, it has a sharp edge. We will just run our 80 grit sandpaper back once and then back over each of those sharp edges. That will prevent that timber from splintering down the track. And we will also sand every pencil mark off, sand each face, sand each edge. Just make sure that you keep a reference on each of your joints so that you know which bridle goes with which bridle and which tenon goes with which mortise on there.